Hi, welcome to Den and Denim. I'm Den, and today I'm going to talk about a classic older than blue jeans, one which Levi's has consistently made for over 170 years and has become a symbol in our culture for an entire population of people from an economic class. Just like all great stories, this one begins with pizza. Specifically a pizza place in North Hollywood, California called Joe Peeps. You get to write on the walls and order the 5,000 calorie pizza, or you can opt for the blue collar special. It's thin crust, marinara, light cheese, fast and cheap because blue collar means you can't splurge on fancy pants ingredients. In the distinction of social class, there are two colors that vie against one another for control of the culture, the white collar and the blue collar. And these are adjectives in our language that, more than they are physical objects. I mean, you can actually go buy a white collar that goes over your shirt, but they don't offer blue collars in such arrangement. It's not disputed that the term blue collar originated from the Chambray shirt. In the process of this video, we'll discuss Levi's role in forming this symbol, plus all the Chambray shirts I could find from the catalogs. Chambray, 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 you can call it what you may. It should be pronounced with the K sound because of the etymology. The word Cambray comes from the name of Cambray, a city in France. We see elements of the related word camembert cheese. As early as the 16th century, there's lots of evidence for this being a textile region. Even 1,000 years ago, this region was known for its Flemish weavers who would take English wool and turn it into fabric to sell across Europe. The adjective form is cambric, which possibly descends from the Cimbri tribe, who fought the Romans in the 2nd century BC. Despite never really passing through the region in northern France, the name ends up. Now, the Cimbri tribe were fabulous textile weavers, and it's obvious that they in turn learned these skills from aliens. Since just after the Revolutionary War, there have been all sorts of American companies making Chambray shirts. The 1831 edition of the U.S. Farmer's Bulletin calls it the best shirt from manual labor. Levi Strauss started his company by stamping his name on any clothing items he deemed worthy to sell. Chambray shirts would have been one of these first few items back in 1850. Levi's was making blue shirts in the late 19th century, and by 1900 was calling them Cambray. In 1901, the U.S. Navy adopts the Chambray shirt as its uniform. By the 1920s, Levi's is selling Chambray shirts under the Sunset line. After World War II, in the late 1940s and all the way through the 50s, Levi's is making their blue work shirts under the Western line. And these are distinguished by their overlapping fabric stitch at the upper chest. Some of these were made with Cambray fabric, but most you will see are denim shirts. Similar, but with the denim twirl that just makes it coarser and thicker. By the 1970s, the Cambray was an orange tab item. The advent of business casual in the 80s reintroduced the Chambray shirt to the main Levi's line, and it has been a consistent item for 170 years now. Denim is a twill, Chambray is plain. Technically, it's a lightweight, even weave fabric formed of colored warp yarns and white weft yarns. Warp and weft are like the XY grid of weaving fabric, and this horizontal vertical match makes it softer and lighter than the diagonal twill of denim. It also means that it wears to become softer and shows fades and distressing just like denim. And you can get selvage Cambray, and the weights vary. Just like denim, you can get 2 to 18 ounces. Cambray is also the name of a color that is bluish gray. Levi's has made these two main color variations, although any shirt with a similar weave is a Chambray shirt despite the color. There's also bleached Chambrays, and between the lines and sub-brands and over time, the color tones have shifted slightly. A few of the vault pieces of Chambray shirts often come in this distressed muddy brown. It is interesting to note how the blue color matches the blue denim jeans. This is because they were both originally dyed with natural indigo. The early variations of the Chambray shirt are the miner's popover. That means the buttons are only on the top, like a modern polo shirt. One pocket. Some of them are rigid, some are distressed, showing these distressed lines, different buttons in each. The gingham checkered distressed one with magic pouch, probably for tobacco or gunpowder. The creme de la creme is the Bunkhouse Chambray vault piece, matches the jeans found at the scene of the crime. The early US Navy edition popover with two pockets and soft rounded collar. Early sunset shirt, bleached Ecru with one pocket popover. Then we get into the two pockets for the 1920s and 30s. There's striped, black, and seriously worn light blue. The 40s and 50s are really ruled by the denim western shirts. Some of these are Chambray, but most of them, like the Sawtooth pattern of the pockets is how it gets its name. But if you look on the top of the breast, you'll see these stitching lines. The 1960s brings the orange tabs line, and the Chambray runs under there. So one pocket, sometimes two, that has the orange tab signifying Levi's. They even made specific women's Chambrays at this point. With the advent of the business casual, the 80s all the way through the present, they're running sometimes called Sunset line, sometimes called Ecru, but just the Levi's Premium. You can still get a Chambray shirt today. It's not my favorite LVC shirt. It definitely isn't the coolest. But because of the creasing, fading, and broken-in feeling that it acquires over time, the Chambray shirt should be a piece of a denim head's wardrobe. This has been Denim. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you have a Chambray or a suggestion of which Levi's vintage clothing item I should review next. Denim.